Oh,
Hello, hello, and welcome back to the Liminal Pathways podcast. I am your host, Sarah. I am so happy to have you here for a wonderful conversation that we are going to have today. Before I introduce our guest, I want to talk a little bit about this podcast and the vision that I have for it. I know I talked a little bit about that in the first episode. So, I am a manifesting generator in human design, and my ruling planet is my Gemini Mercury. So, I am interested in not just one thing, but like everything and like the integration of everything. So, even though I will be giving monthly astrology reports, transits, plugging in my services for astrology readings. I am also a lifelong perpetual teacher and student. I really enjoy talking about the human condition, our souls being in a human body, and really our search for meaning. And this is going to be explored throughout solo episodes, through astrology updates, and also special guests that I bring on the podcast. I would like to introduce our first guest. I've had the pleasure of knowing her since an early age. Her name is Dr. Marisa Catapano. Dr. Marisa Catapano is a licensed naturopathic doctor. She is a fellow of the American Board of Naturopathic Oncology, and she is a neo-emotional release practitioner. Dr. Marisa Catapano cares for human beings across the lifespan with a wide range of dis-eases, and her passions are emotional well-being and integrative cancer care. With a deep reverence for the innate healing power of nature and the body as an inextricable part of nature, Dr. Catapano is committed to providing her patients high quality, individualized healthcare that harnesses the mind body connection, addressing the root causes of dis ease, and fosters long lasting wellness. Inspired by her mother's battle with stage 4 breast cancer and her own transformative experience with naturopathic medicine, Dr. Catapano pursued a summa cum laude education at Boston University and the University of Bridgeport College of Naturopathic Medicine. She later completed a 2-year oncology focused residency to help cancer patients thrive during and after treatment. Recognizing the profound impact of emotions on health, she integrates neo emotional release into her practice, facilitating deep healing on both physical and emotional levels. Dr. Catapano is dedicated to empowering her patients to reconnect with their bodies, reclaim their vitality, and truly enjoy life. I will link the details to Marissa's website and how to get in touch with her in the show notes. I would also like to add on that Marissa is one of the kindest, compassionate, empathic, and intuitive, and really smart people I have had the blessing of knowing in my life. And she's really good at math. So, without any further ado, I would now like to have the honor of presenting Dr. Marissa Catapano.
hello, Marissa.
Hello, Sarah. Thank you so much for having me.
My pleasure. It is so good to have you on. And what an honor it is for you to be my first guest on the Liminal Pathways podcast.
Oh my goodness, I feel extra honored and grateful. Thank you so much.
You
What a
you
joy.
should. I have a list of like 10 people on my phone, and I had a ping. I'm like, I need to reach out to Marissa. Um,
Oh my gosh. Oh, I'm so honored. I'm so excited to be here with you.
Me too. I'm so excited. I'm so happy. So, a question that I plan on asking all my guests is what is your sun, moon, and rising in astrology?
Okay, yes. So I am a Cancer sun, Aries moon, and a Virgo rising.
Wow, I love that. So, for folks who may be listening, I have the pleasure and privilege of knowing Marissa because we grew up in the same hometown together. We are actually 2 weeks apart, so we are both July Cancers. So, Marissa, wow, I know I will be doing a private one-on-one reading with you, but I just love the juxtaposition of the Cancer sun and the Aries moon. Before I get into the Virgo rising. So, the
Yes.
Cancer sun, right, is that cardinal water energy, the eternal mother, that nurturing, that warmth, the crab, right? So tough exterior, very warm and loving interior. So that's your sun. That is your identity, how people see you. It
Mm,
shines. You're a
mm.
nurturer. And then we juxtapose the Cancer sun with the Aries moon. May I ask, have you ever had an astrology reading before?
I actually haven't. I've used CoStar,
Okay.
I'm sure you know the
Yeah, it's
app. And
okay.
so that's like the extent to which, plus some
Perfect.
friends who are interested, because yeah, I just find it so fascinating.
Amazing. Okay, so stop me if you have any questions, and I'll go deeper into this when we do it one on one. But the
Sure.
Aries moon, the moon is our emotions, our feeling state, the, I don't say the void, but the
Mm,
black hole of where everything is. It's the Akashic Records, which is a library of our soul's blueprint. And your moon is in Aries, which is a cardinal sign like Cancer, and it's cardinal fire. Um, if you recall from mythology, Aries, Mars, is the god of war. Aries is ruled by the planet Mars.
mm,
So it's these conflicting personalities and integrating with the moon and Aries. I'll have to look at your house placement, but I'm assuming it's in the eighth house if you're a Virgo rising. There's most likely a lot of sacred rage.
hmm Oh yeah, that's something that I have, with the work I have been doing, become more aware
Hmm.
of. And I'm really working to embrace that side. But it's
Yes.
it's a journey for sure. But yeah, that totally resonates.
I love that. Embracing the sacred rage and
Yes.
integrating that with who we are. And just to wrap this up in a little bow, the Virgo rising, we are ruled by the planet Mercury. So the way that you communicate is going to be very important for you. And
Mm,
I believe that your Mercury is also in the sign of Cancer, so that the way that you speak, the way you show up in partnership, in friends and family, in what you do, and I can't wait to go into your secret calling, is in a way with compassion and care. And you are a leader, and with that Virgo rising, that first house, that Virgo energy is amazing. And the shadow side of Virgo is sometimes we are our own worst enemy and we will nitpick every little thing we do. We'll think of the dumb thing we said 15 years ago and we're like beating ourselves up over stuff that no one is thinking about. So,
that's not me at all. No, no, no kidding. So so very spot on. All of that resonates with me deeply. Wow, so fascinating.
Thank you for letting me share your little big three analysis with
Oh my gosh,
the community.
absolutely. Thanks for doing that. I can't wait to go even deeper with you. And it's so nice to, just really give a sense of who I am on a different level. I love that.
I agree. And it's such a powerful modality in addition to so many of the other modalities out there, whether it's spoken, written, music, in really understanding yourself, what makes you tick, taking a look at
Yes.
transit charts. There's different ways that you can use astrology, solar returns, your birthday chart. So just plugging that in if folks are interested. In a birth chart reading, I will at the end link my information as well as your information.
Yeah, amazing. I love that. It's like one of the most beautiful ways of just knowing yourself. And once you know like the light and the dark,
Mm,
I
mm,
feel like there's a lot of self-compassion that
mm.
comes in and also excitement because you can also see like the potential for what's there the more you actually really begin to understand and nurture your own unique way of showing up in the world.
Yes, that is so beautiful. The word that I wrote down while you were just talking, because it resonated so much to me, is the word alchemy. I see
Mm,
Virgo as like this master alchemist.
yes.
Alchemist, not sure if I'm saying that right, potato, potato, the alchemization of energy. Virgo
Yes.
is also the maiden. Virgo and Cancer are very motherly signs. So,
Yeah, that has definitely been a strong theme for me in my work is
yes.
this mothering
Mm,
energy and really embracing that. I feel that
mm,
so potently in this period of my life, even before
mm,
becoming like an actual mother, just with every creation,
mm.
it is in a way every person that I work with, it's just like embodying that beautiful, nurturing feminine essence is really, it's a lot of fun to work with.
Marissa, that's so beautiful. Um, I just love that so much. And I also wanted to say that what you just brought up with the mother and different themes of the mother segues perfectly into the first question that I wanted to explore with you. So, how did you get on your path?
Mm, that's a wonderful question. So I would say really from the beginning, I have always sort of been the person that people would go to, that people would feel really comfortable opening up to. And I've always been good at just listening. And I think it's because I'm so curious and I love to witness and to really understand people. And so I started off, my higher education going into psychology. But then after my first year, my mother was diagnosed with stage 4 breast cancer. And that totally changed the trajectory of my life, of course, in so many ways. But one of the gifts that came from that journey is that she courageously chose to not only do the conventional medicine route, but also this naturopathic medicine route. And through that, she also brought me to my first naturopath who cured the migraines I had suffered from for really much of my life. And I was like, what the heck is this naturopathic medicine thing? And so the more I looked into it, the more I really realized there's a medicine that combines body, mind, and spirit. I was like, that seems like how medicine should be practiced. So I, just changed a couple of courses and was well on my way to naturopathic medical school. And, um, I never lost that sort of psychology like orientation in my studies. And I felt that while we got some counseling and some like mindfulness training in school, I really felt like that was something I knew once I got out of school, I was going to want to go deeper there. And so it was actually, I was in residency because I also decided that I wanted to specialize in oncology to help people like my mom. But while I was in residency, I was listening to a podcast of a fellow naturopath and UB alum who did a training in something called neo emotional release. And when I was listening to him speak about it, there was just a full body yes, where I was like, I don't really understand fully what this is, but I just know that this is the next step for me. So, being a true Virgo, I signed up for the training while I was also in residency. And that has shaped not only my medical practice, but the way that I relate to myself, the way that I relate in my relationship, in my friendships. It has truly just transformed or alchemized the way that I view the world and practice medicine and support people in their healing. And it's been truly the greatest gift.
Wow, Marissa, that is so beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing. I know I said this. I'm honored to know you. I really am.
Hmm.
A couple of things came up for me as you were talking in my Virgo rising fashion. I need to write things down, otherwise I'll forget because my mind goes very fast.
Love it.
So, a couple of things that you brought up that I would love to explore a little deeper. The first one being the full body yes. In your take, what does a full body yes feel like in the body? And how did you get to a point where you can tell what is a full body yes versus a full body no versus I need to think about it?
Wow, that is a fantastic question. And it's pretty amazing because I would say when I had that full body yes, listening to that podcast, I was very much at the beginning of really creating a connection with my body enough that I could receive that message. Um, what does a full body yes feel like is, of course, it's unique to everyone. And so sometimes for me, it's like there's just this feeling of expansion. And sometimes the full body no is a feeling of contraction. Sometimes some people are more like, yes, I hear the yes. And some people it's like it's more visual, right? They see colors. Um, Other people it's like I'm pulled to it, or maybe there's like a movement in their body that they're actually falling forward, right? Subtly when they're listening to something. So it's really unique. And what it takes to understand the language of your own body is simply building a relationship with it. And for me, that's cultivating a practice of presence. At the time, the way I was doing that was through yoga. Yoga, not as just another workout, but really as union, body, mind, breath, and paying attention as I was moving through the poses to how my body was feeling, where I was feeling tense, where I was feeling really strong, where I was feeling really expansive. And so by moving with my body every single day, I began to just get familiar with the language of my body so that when that sort of information, and of course, when it's on your path and there was no way I was not going to go down this path, like the sign and the message becomes that more clear. But the more you get in touch with your body and its way of communicating with you, the more that you can actually also receive even the more subtle yeses and nos that are coming through, I mean, pretty much all day long every day, as long as we're open to listening.
I agree with everything you're saying. Even here, I'm like nodding my head, like, yes, yes. And I love this conversation about the subtle nudges and the somatics. And I feel like this ties into a conversation about nervous system regulation when our bodies have been in fight or flight mode for years and
Yes.
coming out of that, how to sit still, listen to our bodies. For example, meditation. I
Mm.
do meditate, and sometimes I'm sitting there, laying there. Sometimes I'll do walking meditations, and I'm like thinking about this grocery list. That, I gotta do that. And it's like it's not like I just started meditating yesterday. So I just wanted to kind of share that as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is like, I think something I tell folks a lot is that, the point isn't necessarily to become empty. It's to become present. And in the moment you
Wow.
become still, in the moment you become silent, the truth is just naturally revealing itself, right? And so if there's a little bit of anxiousness or worry underneath the surface, the moment you become still, that's what's going to flood up. And so you're not wrong or broken for that. It's just, can I slip into the role of the observer and actually witness that that's what's happening? And instead of jumping into the shame and blame game, actually noticing, oh yeah, I'm feeling a little nervous today. Like, and just being with that and accepting that as that's the wisdom from your body in this moment.
Yes, being aware and having love for the parts of yourself that are feeling fear, anxiety, shame, etc.
Yes.
in that
Yes.
self-love journey.
Yes. Absolutely. Yeah. I feel, I hear this a lot in the healing space of like, oh, we're just trying to help people be the best version of themselves. And like, it's admirable on a level, but I think what's a more meaningful mission is to support people in loving the version of themselves that they are in this very moment, even if that's not the quote unquote best, because the quote unquote best version of you is not always available. And so, can you also love the messy, the shameful, the fearful, the imperfect parts of you as they're showing themselves? I think that is what really creates a greater sense of wholeness and peace as we move through life.
Yes, yes. And I just noticed when you had mentioned when people in the spiritual space say being the best version of yourselves, as you said that, I couldn't notice, but help my I noticed myself rolling my eyes at that in that social media space. A lot of these coaches, a lot of these healers, make these promises. And a lot of the times, they're just lining their paychecks. And with Saturn at 29 degrees Pisces, we are seeing the fall of spiritual gurus or anyone for that matter that we have put on a pedestal. And just adding on to that point, when I rolled my eyes, I'm also thinking about too the toxic positivity that we
Yes.
see in a lot of spaces. And
Yes.
as someone who is literate, I'm not even going to finish that statement.
Yeah, and it's attractive though, right? Because I
Hmm.
think a lot of us a lot of us were raised, and because of the way that society is built, like even the way we speak about our children, like, I just want you to be happy. I just want you to be happy. As if happiness, joy, love, light, like that's the ultimate state of being. And anything shy of that means that something is wrong. And we have to try and shift you out of this quickly into this best version, into back the joy, right?
Yes.
And so much of the work that I do with people is actually, instead of only allowing the tiniest spectrum of the human experience to be what you're really embracing, what if you could embrace the full spectrum? What if you could actually embrace the rage, embrace the grief, embrace the guilt, like really allow the whole spectrum to have meaning? And that, I think, is what true spirituality is. It's not just the love and light, like it includes love and light, but I believe, anger is love and grief, like it is all love, but only when you do embrace it and fully allow yourself to receive the gift inherently that all those other states of being hold for you.
Wow. 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 Two things came, well, probably more than two, but the first one, I can see this conversation like a tree with the roots going in all these directions. The first thing is I thought of, when you say to children, like, oh, you need to be good, or, it's
Mm,
does good equal compliant? And children, adolescents need to feel everything, the rage, the all the emotions. And our American society is so quick to prescribe antidepressants,
mm.
SSRIs, when people need to be heard.
Yes, and that's the key, is because
Hmm.
it's never the parents' fault, right? It's generations
Yes.
of people who really grew up in, as you said earlier, like fight or flight mode. And when you're in survival mode, right, like families here who come from immigrant families, right?
Exactly.
Generations back, it's like survival mode. Like there's no room to feel emotions. Like you just got to stuff all that down and keep moving. And so that of course weaves its way down. And so it's a bigger systemic issue, right? But of course you want your kid to be happy, right? Like we all do. It's great to be happy. We love it. We're not saying that's not great. It's just that, what we need is actually we need spaces where we can actually feel supported and safe enough to be able to feel some of those more uncomfortable emotions. Because if we don't have the safety or even the guidance, because perhaps maybe no one actually really taught us, like, how do you feel anger in a healthy way without blowing up at someone on Instagram or becoming physically violent, right? Like, maybe no one's ever seen healthy expression of anger. And so,
The
unless
modeling, yeah.
exactly. So if we don't have safe spaces and guides for that, then the safest thing is kind of not to feel it, right? Because it can become dangerous if we don't know exactly what we're working with. So that safety and that witnessing presence is so important. And if a parent can give that to the child and hold them while they're having a temper tantrum, right? Not make them wrong for that, but just, okay, here's a pillow. This is how we take it out, right? Like, not on your little sister, but on the pillow, like that sort of a thing. Like learning how to actually, like, what are they feeling? How do they need to express it? And then, just letting that move through is, yeah, I think it's could be amazing if we could begin to approach emotions, especially in the young ones, with presence and with permission rather than that good girl, good boy
Mm-hmm.
conditioning, or be seen, not heard. Because I
Exactly.
see in now all the adults that I work with, it's like that was exactly the mentality they experienced growing up.
Yes, exactly. And to your point, do you have any advice when it comes to adults of well-meaning parents who couldn't give their children what they need, and now they are adults, they have these complexes, they have these fears, they've gone to therapy for years, they've done all the things,
Mm,
and they still, I don't want to use the word stuck, and they're having some difficulties breaking out of old patterns that were
mm,
ingrained. So I guess do you have any advice when it comes to reparenting your inner child?
mm. Yeah, that's really another great question. And one thing I like to say always is that when you feel like you're stuck in this pattern and it's like, we're smart. It's like, I know what I need to do. I'm just not doing it. And a lot of times when people are saying this, it's like, it's as if it's just a discipline thing or it's a willpower thing, right? But what I tell people is that what is driving that behavior that you're wanting to change, only 5% of what's driving that behavior is conscious. 95% of what's driving that behavior is in your subconscious mind. So it's completely outside of your awareness. But we're blaming that 5%, just saying, I'm not strong enough to just, quit smoking or whatever it is, right? But it's really, and this is where talk therapy, it can help with coping, it can help with reframing, it can help with understanding, but that doesn't always translate into healing. And so, what we need to do is we need to actually shed light into the dark places. We have to make the unconscious conscious so that a new choice does present itself. Because until we truly know what's driving that behavior, often, as you use the word reparenting, right? It's often a younger part of us who developed this pattern because that was the only way that child knew how to cope with the circumstances. And so now that
Yes.
you're an adult, you see that that's maladaptive, right? That's no
Hmm.
longer serving you. But how do I change that? And so this is why I believe so much in the power of somatic work, is because through the body, you can make contact and speak with and feel with these parts of you that had been unconsciously running the show. And through your loving, compassionate presence with them and ongoing presence with them, they begin to integrate into the whole of your being so that they're no longer running the show, but they're just like part of the symphony, that really makes you you. And so I believe if someone is feeling stuck with, or they've sort of hit their like talk therapy helped me, but to a point, I really think looking at something more somatic is a fantastic place to start because it can feel overwhelming to just sort of like dive into it on your own. You don't really know what you're working with. So just have someone hold space for you to let yourself be held. And to also, when it comes to your perspective with your parents, to hold both truths at once, right? That they did the best they could, and I can hold so much compassion and understanding because I know they also, right? Like maybe didn't receive everything they needed,
Exactly.
but not to let that sort of gaslight yourself either out of maybe some anger or some grief or maybe some things that you had to carry that maybe you shouldn't have, and to give space for that to come up and be witnessed and felt. The anger or the grief in that scenario does not negate the love and compassion you hold for your parents. And that can be a tricky thing to hold, right? But when you get to that space where you can hold both, that's when everything really starts to change.
So beautiful. I really resonate with that saying, like multiple things can be true at the same time. Like life is not black or white. It's not that binary. There's so many layers and nuances and pulling other layers down to see different side quests and
Yes.
all the other things. You're like, oh, I didn't know.
That
Okay.
one's new. Okay, welcome. Welcome. Join. Come to the
Join the
table.
party. Yes. And going back to that piece that I believe I mentioned earlier about like loving the parts of ourself that still need maybe a little bit more attention and love. And I think that has also helped me through my personal self-love journey.
Absolutely. Oh, I love that so much.
So you were mentioning neo-emotional release therapy. Can you please explain for our listeners what this is, first of all?
Absolutely. Yes. So it's a very integral technique. At its core, the foundation is really that emotions are energy in motion, emotion. This means that they are body-based reactions. So they're not something we can rationalize or will away. They have to be felt in the body. And just like all energy, they come in a wave, right? So a natural beginning, a middle, and an end, if we can fully allow it. And if you think about the baby that's born and cries, screams, giggles whenever it feels to, and then it's like cool again, and then the next wave comes, and then it's cool again, like that's our natural state. Feeling, moving through, coming back down to rest. But as we get older, we start to develop more of a sense of who we are, where we are, what is allowed to feel, what is not safe to feel. Sometimes we also experience traumas, things that are actually too big for us to fully feel in the moment. And so what happens is rather than that wave of energy moving through you, the body in its wisdom sees this wave coming up, and before it has the chance to overwhelm you, it cuts that wave off. And so that wave actually becomes a loop now of stagnant energy that will land somewhere different in the body, depending upon what that emotion was and what the circumstances were surrounding the emotion. And so over time, this also becomes a pattern, and this begins to shape us. It begins to shape our posture, it begins to shape our behaviors, and it can also contribute to all sorts of physical and mental dis-ease. And so, what we're doing in neo emotional release is we're giving the body the safe space, the permission and the guidance that it needs in order to show us what it has been holding on to, where some of those stagnant energies have been living. And it's really the first part of the release is in the witnessing, the feeling, and the expressing of whatever emotion you could not fully feel before. And so everything that was holding on to that emotion now gets to open up, and your system is shown a new way of being. Um, and then, of course, there's also with the catharsis, we're also working on containment. So not just, letting the charge out, but also strengthening your capacity to be with difficult emotions, which is just as, if not more valuable, because when you leave the session and you go into your daily life and, maybe we had a beautiful release of anger, but then something happens in your life where anger is coming up again, of course, because we don't ever release emotions for good. And so, how can I actually feel more okay to be with this? And how do I learn the language of how my body feels anger, how it likes to express it, and then how to receive the messages that that anger held me? Was there a boundary that was crossed? Was there a need that went unmet? Was there a disrespect? What happened there that brought up that anger so that you can really, that helps complete the cycle. And so we're getting rid of what the body's been holding, but we're also creating your capacity to just move through your life more embodied and more accepting of yourself and of your emotions exactly as they are, so that you sort of return in a way to the state of the baby where you're allowing yourself to feel and just let your feelings guide you as to how you are to live.
I love that so much. And one day it would be an honor to receive a neo emotional release session from you.
Oh, it would be an honor to hold space for you in that way, Sarah. I would be very happy to.
Thank you. Quick question. Is neo-emotional release therapy similar to breath work? I've done breath work a
Mm,
few times.
great question. So, breath is a part of it. We use expressive breathing. We use breath as really an anchor as well, like to really root down into whatever is there for you, breathing through emotions. Um, but it's not just breath. So, of course, the foundation is just that unconditional, loving human presence, which is something we do not experience much in our day-to-day life, right? Where you have a purely non-judgmental witness who, no matter what you would show me, I'm here. I'm not going anywhere. That in itself is really the most potent piece of the medicine. Then, yes, we have expressive breathing. We have some psychosomatic body work as well. And even in the virtual setting, just sort of, I'm just guiding clients as to how to move and position their bodies in their own way. Um, I personally also layer in some subtle energy work into my sessions. But there's also verbal guidance. There's some subconscious visualization techniques that we're using. Um, Parts work, if anyone's familiar with like IFS therapy, that is definitely something that gets woven in. So that's what I mean when I say it's very integral technique. There's really a lot of different modalities that sort of come together. And so no two sessions look exactly the like. We're just kind of tuning in with how this person processes more on a sensation level, and this person processes really quite visually. And so just, attuning to that person's needs.
Wow. How multidimensional. I love it.
Yeah. Oh, it's undoubtedly it's multidimensional. We're working across timelines and the whole
Yes.
thing. Yeah.
And as you were speaking, I was literally thinking to myself, and then you mentioned energy work. I'm like, is Marissa a Reiki practitioner?
Mm, no, it's not Reiki. I don't really have a name.
You don't need a name. It's
Yeah,
universal.
I've been training with a shaman, and
Wow.
it's beautiful because it feels like a technique that just weaves in so naturally with the neo, and I think with a lot of other techniques. It's a way of presence and a way of opening yourself up to be both empty, but also to be guided, right? Ultimately, remembering that I'm not the healer in the sessions. It's the person on the table that is the healer. It's their body that's doing the healing. I'm just here, really, again, as that loving
Witness.
witness.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. I love the term of witness, right? You're not the healer, you're the witness. And we're
Yes.
embodying. A lot of phrases are coming up that I really enjoying. Embodiment,
Yes.
attunement, interdimensional awareness, and to the energy work point real quick. I also don't think that it needs to be like Reiki TM. For
Yeah.
example, before
Yeah.
I became attuned to Reiki, as a little girl, I always believed in magic, intention.
Mm.
These are the things we have as little kids. And then society's like, you got bills to pay, you got taxes, you got this, you got that. And I'm like, who am I?
Yes, exactly. Exactly. And there's so many beautiful modalities that
Mhm.
work with the energies. And it's like, what we all have our own gifts. And so
Yes.
just opening up and having a teacher who helps you understand like what your
Hmm.
way is. Yeah, there's no one way that is more credible. It's just like we're all energetic beings, so it's like
Mm.
anyone can work with energies. It's just a matter of like what is your uniqueness in that.
So, Marissa, my next question for you is, what is your spiritual path and what does it
Mm.
mean for you?
Mm. I love that. I feel that my spiritual path has always been like if I think about even when I was younger and I was raised like in the Catholic Church, like what I felt drawn to there and how that's evolved into my relationship with spirituality now is like just this connection with something greater than me, but also all encompassing, like that which is within us and also
Beautiful.
around us. And a level of like trust and surrender into that, while not completely losing my own agency, but also trusting that my path is always unfolding in front of me, that I am always walking it, even when it feels like I can't see it. Is probably actually when I can see it the most because it's the most authentic. Um, I find spirituality for me a lot by connecting with my body through the practice of yoga, through just the practice of stillness, even through, just regular exercise, through the way that I nourish my body with food, through hiking in the woods, through just like the reverence practices for the earth and for all of its beings, and like bringing that into my work also on a daily basis. Um, to have that connection to life, to know that we often move through the world thinking that everything is separate, or maybe loosely connected, but understanding more and more as I engage with this work that we are so much more connected than we realize. And how does that inform the way that I treat myself, the way that I treat the tree on my walk, the way that I treat the person that is coming to me for healing, the person who slammed the door in my face, like knowing that we really are all connected. How does that shift the way that we move through the world? And so much of my path has been by connecting people with their body and with their emotions, that innately when you do that, you're opening yourself up to the greater wisdom and the life force that is really moving all of us. And once you connect with that, that's the ripple effect that then goes out into all of their relationships and how they treat the world. So, um, I would, that's what kind of how I would answer that really beautiful question.
What a beautiful answer, Marissa. I was muted.
Classic.
You're muted. So beautiful. Adding on a little bit with, yeah, organized religion and how I was brought up and, this belief in God and this this sky daddy God. And now
Yes.
where I am post Saturn return and tapping into that inner knowing that I've had is that God, or what I perceive to be God, is within all of us, is every molecule of our tissues, organs, cells, and that is something that works for me.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. Same here. And if anyone has ever done any kind of plant medicine, you know that that
Mm,
is true. You're tapped into that
wow.
connection in a way that you just simply it just changes how you move through your life when you really experience
Hmm.
that level of connection.
That's
And just so much respect for everyone and everything once you felt that.
that oneness, that Piscean
Yes.
universal connection with humanity. And I just jotted down a thing about plant medicine, but I think I'm going to have you on for a part two, Marissa, because
I'm so
I am
game.
very curious and is one thing that I'm interested in learning and exploring a little
Mm.
deeper.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yeah, we could definitely have a whole podcast just talking about that.
For
But
sure.
it is, yeah, it is that oneness and that we're all
Mm.
unique expressions of this divine life
Hmm.
force, God, like whatever word you want to put to it. And that I really believe in like this that we are the universe experiencing itself and in so many different ways.
Yeah.
Like that's where diversity becomes so celebrated because it is our own uniqueness and the things that we can bring into this life and into this world that makes it so special. So it's like the oneness, but also embracing the diversity and the uniqueness that I
Mm.
feel like yeah, it's always holding that duality, I think, is a lot of what the spiritual path is for me as well.
And me, yes, I
Yeah.
agree so wholeheartedly.
Yeah.
So, in wrapping this up, I have two more questions. The first one is, as a doctor of naturopathic medicine, what are some of the services that you are providing to your community?
Yes, absolutely. So, as a naturopathic doctor, I'm really mostly treating chronic conditions
Hmm.
in a holistic way. So we're looking to get to the root causes, be they physical, mental, emotional, environmental, social, right? Seeing the body as one moving, interconnected part. And so what I do with my naturopathic patients is, after a comprehensive evaluation, um, I work with basically I kind of have two different paths. One is someone with a cancer diagnosis or personal history of cancer, and then everyone else I just call sort of a comprehensive case. And so we have initial evaluations and then comprehensive treatment plans that are built. And every plan is unique and individual to that person, but it will involve some level of personalized nutrition, lifestyle medicine, botanical and nutraceutical support, sometimes functional or more in-depth lab testing, using movement as medicine. And of course, I always touch on the psychosomatics and the mental emotional roots of whatever that person is coming in to see me with physically. And so it's very personalized, one-on-one care to really help people reestablish the foundations of their health.
Wow, amazing. And my last question, I will link your information in the show notes. How can people get either in touch with you or do you have social media that you're on?
Mhm. Yeah, absolutely. So with social media, I'm on Instagram. It's at dr.marissa.catapano. And then my website is probably the best place to start. You'll also find links to my Instagram and my LinkedIn there. But that is marissacatapano.nd.com. And there you can book a free discovery call with me so that we can chat about where you are at, what health concerns or goals you have. And we can discuss naturopathic, neo, what feels right for you.
Wow. Thank you again so much, Dr. Marisa Catapano.
Thank you so much, Sarah. This has been so much fun, really. Thank you for having me on today.
Sending you and everyone listening so much love. And I will have to have you on again.
Yay, can't wait.
Yes. All right. I love you.
Okay. Wow. That was such a positive and powerful experience to be able to facilitate these conversations. I am genuinely looking forward to getting this out there, as well as having on Dr. Marissa for a part two, where we will go deeper into talking about plant medicine and whatever wants to come out. If you enjoyed this podcast, I would really love if you considered rating it 5 stars on Spotify, following or subscribing along to the podcast. You'll get notified when new episodes come out. If you feel so inclined to share it with a friend who may resonate and enjoy the topics that are being spoken about, that would really help me a lot as I am just a girl. I don't have a team. I am doing the recording, the editing, and this is really a homegrown podcast. So any of the natural organic support is highly, highly appreciated. Once again, I will be putting Dr. Marissa's information in the show notes. So you can follow her on Instagram, check out her website, and I will also be linking the information to book a reading with me if you are interested. I do natal chart readings, which are birth chart readings, taking a look at a snapshot of the sky at the time that you were born and gleaming some insights into your personality. And it's a conversation. So you can book a natal chart reading with me. You can book a transit chart reading with me where we will take a look at the transits, meaning what is happening in astrology right now that is impacting your chart, that is impacting you. And then I also do synastry readings. Synastry is taking a look at the relationship between two charts. So you can do a synastry relationship reading with a partner, with your child, a parent, a pet. The choices are endless. And I really do enjoy astrology as a holistic tool, right? Not like the one and only tool, but a tool to help empower you and understand you, what makes you tick. So I've been studying astrology for like 15 years. I've been offering readings for the last 4 years, and I look forward to connecting with you. Thank you so much for listening to the Liminal Pathways podcast, and I will see you next time. Ciao for now.